number you have dialed has been changed.
Walk so close. Don't breathe so soft. Don't talk so sweet. And don't sing. Don't lay all so near.
Is It Nefarious will be a series of episodes. In these episodes, we will attempt to take a look at both sides of the story of various nefarious topics. These exercises are presented for you to have the opportunity to hone your own discernment, take what resonates, and leave the rest. These will be exercises in big thinking, some mental yoga, if you will. And with that, let's begin. Is it nefarious?
Alright, let's get started. Eve, if you would please review the minutes from our last meeting and any updates.
Right, yes. At the last meeting, the board developed and approved a throttle mechanism that enables the programming of those poor bastards down there on Earth. This governing concept has been sent to research and development and has been successfully developed and installed upon the humans.
Well, this is excellent. Is there any report of how it is performing?
Yes, sir. The device seems to be performing very well. We have them eating out of our hands and doing whatever we suggest.
Excellent. Very well then. Our next item of business is to do something about all the loving that they do. It is proven to be very counterproductive to our agenda. Love, love, love. They just go spraying around all over the place. It just makes me sick to think about it. It's disgusting.
Well, I do think that I have a possible viable solution. I'll just share my screen. If we just do this...
Isn't that the same graphic you presented last week?
Well, yes it is. But I really did think about it. You see, if we just do some modifications here on the throttle and just simply take out the heart component, then we will just simply have produced countless heartless bastards. I propose that we can even leave a component of their heart left intact. The only thing we would really need to do is just alter their perception of what love is. Just screw with what they think they're giving and calling love, so that every time they do it, it could be like, incredibly painful, like sticking your finger in a rat trap.
Yes, this is brilliant. That will cure them from wanting to keep spraying that crap all over the place. This is excellent. Eve, can you get that paperwork down to R&D for us? I think we have a wrap for the week.
Can do. All right, R&D, break those poor bastards' hearts.
So is it nefarious? Do we have a distorted view of what love is? Has our way of giving love been corrupted? There is some possibility for this, but what we have the evidence for is absolutely mixed messages about what it means to love, about what love is. An example for you. Let's take a little trip down memory lane, and it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. And you're 4 or 5, and you're starting to get a pretty dang good command of the English language by this point. And you've just left church where you learned about hellfire and brimstone and being burned for eternity for your wicked ways in the Sunday school classroom, and then you went over to the big church place, and everybody sang songs about Jesus loves you. And everybody was smiling and hugging and giving kisses, and we all shake hands and go on our merry ways. and you leave that big room feeling pretty good. You feel happy and warm inside, and it all seems right with the world. You've got a little bit of concern about that hellfire and the wicked way thing, but we'll work it out. So we all pile into Daddy's Buick and we begin our tootle over to Grandma's house for Sunday supper. And the windows are down and the day is beautiful and you are your exquisitely happy 5-year-old self, and Mama and Daddy have the radio blaring wide. And this catchy little tune comes on.
Love is a burning thing.
So now you're thinking to yourself that sounds remarkably like the fires of damnation that you were just learning about there in Sunday school. And this man is telling you that is what love is. And you're looking at your mama and daddy and they're singing along and they're giving each other that look that they give each other when they get all mushy and start doing all that kissing. And now you're seriously confused. So by the time you get to Grandma's house, you have worked yourself into a thorough frenzy over not understanding what this concept of fiery love is. And your grandma comes running down the porch stairs, yelling to you, "Oh, my baby, I love you. Come here." And the next thing you know, your parents and your grandmother are all running around looking for you, trying to figure out why you keep running from Grandma and you're hiding in the bushes. Mixed messages. There are multitudes of examples of this, where we have the concept of love, giving, nurturing, and acceptance as an ideal, but then we have the cultural reflection of what the reality of love is. And if you have grown up and experienced that, then you know that love hurts. But why, as adults, do we say that, feel that, know that, but when we look at children, their natural state is to be completely open and loving? What changes? Our first experiences of what we model as love, they come from our parents or parental units, our caregivers. They instantly began sending us messages about what the human connection that we now label as love is. But the message that they were sending, was that really love? The message that they sent over time was, you should be this way, not that way. Stand up straight. Don't chew with your mouth open. Be a good student. You get it. All of these messages have a common theme, that you need to be a certain way to be accepted, to be loved. But is that what the symbol love represents to our intellect? It's the opposite of that definition, isn't it? The definition refers to a strong feeling of affection, concern, devotion, adoration, and kindness towards another. The definition of the word love didn't reflect their actions. Now, I am not saying that your parents didn't love you. The definition of the word love, they did. But what I am saying is that maybe their expression of what they thought was love may not have actually been love. The notion of love that we imprinted with was essentially one of rejection. The message of what you are should look like this if you want to be loved. And your parents did this because they felt this strong connection to you, a desire to give you what is best for you, to nurture you. That is what they were feeling. See, this is important. The sensation of love and loving, it comes from within you and you give it away. It can just pour out. It's unlimitless, overwhelming in its power to move you. It's an endless river that we do seem to have some capacity to control. All right, you get it. That's what they were feeling. The trouble is, our caregivers were already programmed to associate that feeling with being manipulated. I speak of it here as culture shaping us type of manipulation. That's what they learned. And now you, as an infant that has no choice, you're going to learn it too. If your caregivers were unconscious and unaware of this dissonance, we can't necessarily hold them accountable as malicious. They did what they knew to do, but now you, if you've followed me so far, are aware that there may be a discrepancy in our definition of the action versus the feeling of love, which means now you're presented with a choice, and you no longer have to participate in what you know now might not be love. There's not a need to have someone do and be what you want them to be. That's what we were taught, but it's not what we feel when we give it. Consider the difference in your relationship to your pet versus another person. Our pets are a very safe place to love. That's why we have them. Because they accept you and they give you love just the way you are. They don't give a rat's ass if you made good grades, if you took a shower, if you have a nice car. They don't even care if you have a house at all. They still love you full force every moment that they are capable. That is the action of love as a verb, as a giving. They are completely open and extremely vulnerable. That is love. It's turning your soft belly up and trusting the hand that reaches out to scratch it. And now think about your relationships with other humans. And sorry to disturb that happy place you were just in with your pets, because most of you and me, well, we probably cringed. What changed? We learned our relationships and feelings, and that connection, it wasn't safe. It came at us wanting to change us, wanting us to be something other than who we were. We are trying to love with actions that are the antithesis of love. And I guess you've already figured out that that doesn't go so well. Love like that, it does hurt. We learn to associate it with that feeling, and we stop letting ourselves feel it because we already know it's futile and destructive. We close the gates up, we dam up the river, we learn that the feeling causes pain. You don't keep sticking your finger in a rat trap. Common sense. So if the love coming from your pet is a consistent message of, I accept you just the way you are, but the love coming from other humans is, I will accept you only if you are this way, then that's easy to see that these two things aren't the same. So which one is love? How do we get from a completely open, accepting, loving little child to a completely closed off, disgruntled adult that goes around singing songs about the damnation and hellfire, ring of fire, that we've come to know as love? So either A, we didn't know what we were doing then as little children, or B, we don't know what we're doing now as adults. Most of us have had wickedly painful experiences related to a thing that we think is love. And I think it'd probably be pretty safe to say that the thing that hurts about love is the thought of losing something. If we didn't have the object of that affection in our lives, that we would somehow be something less without them. But how is it that a part of you could be lost if love, as a thing that you give, can pour out of you like a fire hose if you choose? It's something you give, not something you own. And only things can be owned, and only things can be lost. So we can say then that this can't be love that we are losing, because you can't lose a thing that you are giving that is endless. It has to be something else we are losing then. But what is it? Well, for starters, we lose our desired outcome. The way we think we need someone else to be to feel safe enough to love them. We lose our identity that we thought we acquired from the relationship. So we lose their presence in our daily lives. And this is a problem. We are not solitary creatures in our nature. We thrive in healthy relationships, and we are pack-type, herd-type animals in our biological makeup. Our natural state is togetherness, and certainly we can survive and some seek being in solitude. A yogi will put himself in a cave to remove himself from attachments. Some never come out, and some do, having mastered their need to attach to an outcome. And they are peaceful and happy people if they've succeeded in maintaining that state while operating in society and relationships. And I'm pretty sure some of them probably hightailed it right back to their cave, because it's a damn hard thing to have other people, their idea of love, which is rejection, coming at you 24/7. And it's hard to stand in the face of that and shout that I am good enough, and mean it because you know it's true. And you can't know it's true until you give yourself the act of love. The verb, give it, which is, remember, it's acceptance. So to sum it up then, love hurts because we could lose our desired outcome, our expectations. We could lose part or all of our ego identity, depending on the weight of your investment in said ego. And 3, your attachment to something in this physical experience. And all 3 of these things have one thing in common. They're all rooted in non-acceptance, which is the action we've been taught to associate with the feeling of love from birth. We've already talked about why that isn't love, why non-acceptance isn't love, and you can see then that love, the feeling, the action of giving, how it's really been lost in translation to the action of love as we have come to learn it, the fiery brimstone hell burning fire ring. And it's a thing that can be lost. So love then is the sensation of giving in each moment with no expectations of a return, and it's acceptance of yourself and the other as you both are. And what's the one big difference between your little kid child self that ran around spraying love all over the walls and you now? The one thing that I think we can all agree on is our level of acceptance of ourselves and of everyone else. We were completely confident in who we were. We didn't even question it. It wasn't a question at all. We were perfectly happy with just the way we are. We were perfectly confident that we were good enough, that we were actually spectacular, in fact. And when we were in that place, we were totally capable of giving love in every moment. We were completely open and vulnerable because we knew that we were in a safe place. We were in our own acceptance. There was no question of our value, and no one else's opinions really mattered. But eventually this safe place inside us became a place that wasn't safe because we no longer accepted ourselves anymore. We believed the adults when they told us that we needed to be something other than what we were. And then we began living a life attempting to love other humans from this template of non-acceptance. If only he or she could be this or that, then I could feel safe and I could love them. Or if you do this for me, I will give you acceptance. That's what we were taught to do. That's what we did. And for most of us, it didn't work out. So it seems that humans pick one of 2 solutions. I feel like the most common solution that humans tend to navigate to is the one that I would call the smashing of the forehead on the brick wall of relationships for their entire life. Going around and around in cycles of broken relationships, wanting to fill that empty place inside of them, the place that lacks acceptance, the acceptance that you should be giving yourself, to fill that empty place inside of them with what they think is going to cure it, someone else. But only if that someone else does this correctly, looks this way, behaves like that. They just continue to use the inverted template of love, which is acceptance, to attempt to do what they call love to another human. And it's not, it's usury. In it to get something out of it. Even if it is completely benign and only your desire to feel fulfilled. But it can never work. Because only you can fill the place within yourself with acceptance and love. And make it feel like a safe place to be who you are. Because if you give that power to someone else to do that for you, that their love is going to make you feel accepted, their love is going to make you finally feel safe to be yourself, then you have desired expectations and attachments to the relationship, and you're going to put conditions on them that say they need to be this way or that way so you can feel safe. And you're right back to square one. Or B, the other scenario, is that we just choose to not love anymore at all. Or try not to. It may be something that we want, but if we keep it out there at an arm's length, then, it's not going to get us. It can't hurt us if we don't get involved, which is logical. And is somewhat effective. But it has a trade-off, where we spend a life living at a low level of suffering the whole time, aka loneliness, just to avoid intense pain for a short period of time. Can we, as adults, find our way out of this forest of our cultural programming and create a new paradigm of love and acceptance within ourselves, to give ourselves a foundation of safety to stand on, to be able to open our hearts and just give with no strings, no attachments, no expectations, to love each other authentically. Humans are pretty amazing, but that's a pretty tall order. But then changes start with awareness, and we just gained awareness that there may be a discrepancy in what we think love is and what we feel love is and how we act. So, now we have a head start. But I would also definitely say that if I were nefarious, I would absolutely screw this stuff up.